Heyo, your friendly neighborhood quarter guy here, and a moment of silence for the mixed bag of online play that was Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Yeah, as many of you probably know by now, this past week marked the end of Nintendo Wi-Fi connection for Nintendo Wii and Nintendo Nintendo DS. Basically what this means is that games for the DS and Wii that use the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection no longer have online play. Well, I had a feeling it would happen eventually, especially with the dawn of new systems such as the Wii U and 3DS. And in all honesty, I really didn't use them that often, except for a few games like Mega Man Star Force series and some of the Yu-Gi-Oh games on DS. But as far as online play on the Wii, the only thing I really used for online for the Wii was the services that are still services that are still up for the Wii and DS, and as well as Monster Hunter Tri, which used its own servers and non-Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. From what I understand, part of the reason for the disconnection is due to the fact that it was powered by GameSpy, which shut down recently. In all honesty, one thing I gotta say is that, in all honesty, Nintendo Wi-Fi connection wasn't all that reliable. Best example of this? The online play in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I remember being in a Smash chat with CJS001 and a few others, and we were talking about how the next Smash Bros. Can make online better. The first thing I had to say was, they need to fix the lag. Yeah, connections on Wi-Fi connection for Smash Bros. Brawl were, from my experience anyway, horrible. Yeah, it's like tons of lag, disconnections for no reason. It was a mess. Granted, I didn't play a lot of other games using Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, but from what I did use, it wasn't exactly the best of experiences. So all we can do is really move on. Speaking of moving on, next updates are for my top 15 final bosses. I've got 5 segments completed so far. Eventually, it's like, you should see a preview in the next few days or so. Get hyped for it. Anyways, user questions. Anyways, speaking of, okay, before we start user questions, first of all, thank you to everyone who sent in my questions. Understand I can't get to all of them, because I only have time for like a few questions each week. Just remember how you send your questions. Just go to my channel, click About, and then click the Send Message button. That's how you do it. Or if you have a Tumblr, you can send me questions there. Anyway, first question comes from Hinaruto14. Oh, hey, Western Echidna. He asks, are there any characters from Mario and Sonic that you find underrated / overhated / overlooked? Okay, first Mario series. I don't understand. Okay, well, I can understand some of the hate for Toad, but a bit of it's kind of unjustified. I mean, he's gotten better. It's like, he's usually my go-to for games like Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, and Mario Kart. And in the early Mario Party games, he's the one who still do the stars for 20 coins. So, yeah. And in Super Mario 3D Land, the Toads were helpful by giving you items if you found them on the binoculars. Not to mention that Toad's a lot of fun to play as in 3D World. For the Sonic series, again, I can understand the hate for this guy, but it's only because he was bogged down by bad writing and a bad boss fight. You can probably guess by now, it's Silver the Hedgehog. It's like, from what I've read, I haven't played Sonic 06, but from what I've read about him, there is a bit of tragedy around this character, and his abilities seem pretty cool. Silver is the kind of character that I would at least like to see done justice. Maybe then perhaps people will give him a break. And hey, the fight with Silver in Sonic Generations was pretty awesome. It was on my last list, so yeah. Moving on. Quinn Dickman asks, what do you think of the Ratchet and Clank series? I regret to say that I have yet to play those games. I would like to at some point, and if any of you would like to recommend where to start off on the series, I would most appreciate it. But I have yet to play any of the games in the series, though the guns look pretty cool. 2000 Zack Attack asks, are you a fan of the Rayman games? I'm okay on the Rayman games. I've played Rayman Origins. I still need to finish that. I've played the Rayman Legends Challenges app. I still need to play the full game. I've played the original Rayman. The original Rayman was really friggin' hard. And I've tried Rayman 2, but that was when I was really young and not as good a gamer as I am today. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of the Rayman games, but I can appreciate them for what they are. Next question comes from Glenn Farron, who asks, since you had to leave out Yu-Gi-Oh! In your top 10 card masters, which of those characters are your favorite? Okay, in the interest of fairness, I'll give my favorite character from each generation. Okay, from the original generation, it would definitely have to be Yu-Gi-Moto and Pharaoh Atem. I mean, the development between these two characters is just staggering throughout the entire series. They were great characters, they had a sense of honor, they valued fair play and dueling above all else, and they really forged a true friendship that stuck to the rest of the series. From the second generation, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, it really says something bad when your protagonist gets less development than a character that's pretty much described as a sidekick. The character I like in question here that's like the most developed was Cyrus Truesdale. I mean, at the beginning of the franchise, he just had no confidence in his abilities, but throughout the series, he became a better duelist, he became more confident, and from what I've read, he ultimately was able to not only gain the respect of his brother, but ultimately avenge his previous failures in the final season of the series. Which, by the way, I'm still mad that 4Kids never dubbed that final season. Now, I'm skipping over Generation 3 because that's my favorite. Now, because, well, as much as people don't like Zexal, I have to say my favorite character from Zexal, though it's not amounting to much, was Shark. Shark was pretty much all over the place, but it's like, no matter what, I couldn't help but sympathize with him after his initial development. It's like, well, maybe not sympathize, but respect him at least. He was sort of like one of the anti-heroes of the series. The other bit, of course, being Kite. It's like, he's the kind of person who would call out bullcrap, to be honest. I have to admit, his deck was pretty cool. Though I will say that Zexal is my second least favorite generation. GX was honestly the worst generation for me. Zexal was just meh. Finally, 5Ds. My favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Character overall is Yusei Fudo. I'm going to be honest with you. I love Yusei. I honestly thought his deck was the best. He was a shining example of what someone who grew up with only his wit and his skills could accomplish. Aside from the fact that he was a signer. But his deck was awesome. It's like, his determination was unwavering. His faith in his deck was rivaled only by Yugi. He's just such a badass. Stardust also, yeah, Stardust Dragon for the win. This leads up to my last question of the day. From Hidden Lightning Genin, who asks, what are your thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 and how does it rank on your scale for the series? So far from what I've seen of Arc 5, I am enjoying it. The main protagonist, Yuya Sakaki, is such an entertaining character. I mean, seriously. He's such a goof, but at the same time, he's such an awesome character at the same time. I mean, he's just so fun to watch. Him and his snazzy pink hippo. Also, Pendulum Summons, not broken. Consider, it's like, Pendulum Summons, you're given a huge hand advantage if you use them. I mean, yeah, in order to actually use it, you have to set the Pendulum Scale, which means 2 cards from your hand right there. And then pretty much summoning all the monsters from your hand whose levels fall within the Pendulum Scales. Sounds broken at first, but considering you're giving up huge hand advantage, you have to be careful with it. So anyway, yeah, Arc 5, great so far. Definitely better than Zexal, that's for sure.